Welcome to Business Focus, a production of the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Amy Marlow, and our first guest on today's show is Maggie Parker with Comstock Partners. Maggie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks to you and the Chamber for having me.
Absolutely. Well, today we're going to be talking about a very hot topic, rail to Dulles Loudoun.
Yes, ma'am.
And so before we dive into the latest and greatest on the project, tell us a little bit about Comstock's involvement in the project.
Sure, I'd be glad to. Comstock is actually headquartered right here in Reston on Sunset Hills Road, and we're a real estate developer focused on mixed-use, transit-oriented communities. So we have a very unique position with the Rail to Loudoun project because we are developing the property at the intersection of Wheelie Avenue and the Toll Road, which is the terminus of Phase 1, Wheelie Avenue Reston Station. And then we are also developing a large mixed-use, transit-oriented parcel at what will be the terminus of Phase 2 out at Route 772 in Ashburn. So we have skin in both phases of the rail project.
And the construction is underway on Wheelie Avenue.
Yes, indeed. That's a fascinating project, and we are underway, more than halfway finished, actually. That is a public-private partnership that Comstock entered into with Fairfax County, and it's a fairly unique structured deal. We're delighted to be a part of it, and basically we are building a metro garage for the county. It'll be 2,300 spaces underground, basically 1.5 million square feet, along with an entire transit center, a bus loop and kiss and ride, so on. And then in addition to that, we are delivering a private development on top that's 1.5 million square feet.
A huge project.
A huge project, a big hole in the ground, and we thank all of the Reston citizens for their interest in the project. Right now there are 4 cranes on site, and
yeah, I see it driving in every morning. It's exciting.
It's very exciting. That garage piece alone that we will deliver well in time for Metro, actually probably July of 2013, that aspect will take 1 million man-hours of labor to construct.
And so that's really creating jobs right now.
Absolutely. Jobs right now, you know, we can certainly look and say that in those big office buildings and apartment high-rises on top of the garage, there will be lots of employment, corporate headquarters, commercial tax base. But right now, people are coming to work, about 400 people per day on the Reston site.
Well, that's really important, I think, to keep in mind with the economic downturn, that a project like this, it costs money, but it's also keeping a lot of people at work that otherwise might be suffering.
Absolutely. It's a true investment. So we've got the 400 people showing up on site at the Reston project. We're building apartments out at the Loudoun project, so that's another couple hundred folks. But then all of the suppliers with all of the materials who feed that as well. So basically starting last April, you know, more than 1,000 people are working every day because of work on these 2 small pieces of the Metro project.
Well, good to keep in mind. So you said something that I thought was interesting, which is Rail to Loudoun. And everybody has been referring to the project as Rail to Dulles, and so that's a shift. And I've been reading and hearing a lot of stories in the news in the last couple of weeks around the toll costs tripling and Phase 2 not going through, and there seems to be a little bit of scare tactics in play here. So give us your thoughts on that.
Boy, Amy, that's a very loaded question, but I'd be glad to take you through some of the pieces. You're right. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and there are still a few facts that all of us are waiting to see, and those are the final cost figures for Phase 2 of the project and what the language in the request for qualifications to the bidders will be. So there are a few missing pieces, but a lot of the exaggeration, billions and billions of dollars in rail versus education, those things really are gross exaggerations and not true. You did say, you know, the rail to Dulles versus rail into Loudoun. Well, when this project was conceived, you know, 40 years ago, we had a brand new international airport sitting outside of our capital city. And they said, you know what, we've got to figure out a train to get there. And then the debate continued, but as recently as 30 years ago, it was a rail to Dulles situation. But an airport cannot be a terminus for a metro line.
No.
And very few cities in the world have that because it simply doesn't work.
Well, but you had mentioned also that Dulles International Airport is really one of the only international airports in the world that is not connected to the nearest city.
Exactly, not connected to the city by rail, and it really is, it's a shame, and the airport is such a vibrant economic engine for our region, not to mention, Reston, Fairfax County, and Loudoun County, but for the region, and we really need that piece of connectivity.
And so in a nutshell,
yes,
why is it important for Reston that the project go all the way to the end, which is Brambleton in Ashburn?
Reston is such a vibrant hub of commerce and citizenship. It needs to be a throughway, certainly not an end stop. And the infrastructure is built to support a midpoint station, but certainly not a terminal station in the long run.
And what I've heard you saying is we really want to have a longer term vision here in terms of the overall long-term benefit of taking the station all the way to the end.
Absolutely. We have looked at some numbers, and this is a long-term investment. Loudoun County can grow its commercial tax base and can grow its economy fourfold in 20 years by making an investment.
Incredible. Well, Maggie, thank you so much for sharing this information with us, and we will all stay tuned for new information on the project. Again, this has been Maggie Parker with Comstock Partners, and I'm Amy Marlow with the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce.